What if humans didn't evolve naturally? What if we were created by alien gods from a mysterious planet called Nibiru? For thousands of years, ancient Sumerian texts have told a wild story. The Anunnaki came to Earth, engineered us to mine gold, and nearly wiped us out in a great flood. Is this just a myth, or the hidden truth of our origins? Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the Anunnaki mystery, and trust me, you won't believe what we uncover. Hey there, truth seekers and mystery lovers. You've just stepped into Unusual Files, the place where we dig up the strangest tales the universe has to offer. Today, we're tackling the Anunnaki, alien gods from the shadowy planet Nibiru who might have engineered humanity itself. Obsessed with ancient aliens, Sumerian myths, or wild cosmic conspiracies? Then you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Seriously. You don't want to miss our next mind-bending journey into the unknown. Picture this. Giant beings mining gold to save their world, creating us as their workforce, and unleashing a flood that changed everything. Sound crazy? Maybe, but it's all written in ancient texts. Stick with me, because up next, we're revealing secrets that could rewrite history. Let's dive in. Here's a taste of the Anunnaki mystery awaiting you. Hey, you cosmic explorers and mystery junkies. Buckle up, because we're about to take a wild trip back 7.000 years to ancient Sumer. Yeah. Right smack in what's now modern-day Iraq. This isn't just any old history lesson. This is where the Sumerian civilization kicked off something insane. The world's very first organized society. Picture this. A bustling, brilliant people who gifted humanity with mind-blowing inventions like writing, the wheel, and even the concept of city-states. Pretty cool, right? But hold on to your hats. Because the Sumerians didn't just stop at practical stuff. Oh no, they left behind ancient texts. Like the legendary Epic of Gilgamesh. That spill a story so bizarre it'll make your jaw drop. We're talking about the Anunnaki here, mysterious beings who, according to these clay tablets, swooped down from the heavens to Earth a staggering 450.000 years ago. And get this, they didn't come from some fluffy cloud kingdom. Nope, they hailed from a shadowy, far-off planet called Nibiru. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, gods with halos, let's clear the air. These weren't your typical spiritual deities. The Anunnaki were straight-up aliens, towering giants standing 12 to 15 feet tall, sporting elongated skulls that scream extraterrestrial vibes, and wielding technology so advanced it makes our smartphones look like stone hammers. So, why in the universe would these Anunnaki aliens ditch their cosmic digs for Earth? 2 words. Gold rush. But not the kind you're thinking. No fancy necklaces or shiny crowns here. They needed gold to save their dying planet, Nibiru, from total collapse. Crazy? Oh, you bet it is. Let's dive in and unpack this wild Anunnaki-Nibiru mystery step by step. It's about to get out of this world nuts. Okay, let's set the scene a little more. Imagine Sumer 7.000 years ago, a land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Buzzing with life. The Sumerian civilization wasn't just some random tribe. These folks were pioneers. They scratched the first words onto clay with cuneiform script, yep. The Og writing system. They rolled out the wheel, revolutionizing how people moved stuff around. And city-states? That's their brainchild. Think Uruk, Eridu. Places with ziggurats piercing the sky like ancient skyscrapers. These achievements alone make the Sumerians legends. But their ancient texts take it to another level. Ever heard of the Epic of Gilgamesh? It's not just a cool adventure tale. It's a treasure trove of clues about the Anunnaki. These writings claim that way back 450.000 years ago, these towering beings showed up from Nibiru, a planet that's got conspiracy theorists and ancient alien fans buzzing even today. The Sumerians didn't mince words. They called the Anunnaki, those who from the heavens came. That's a fancy way of saying extraterrestrials. Folks, picture giants with skulls stretched long and eerie, eyes sharp and knowing, strutting around with gadgets we can only dream of. These weren't myths spun by bored shepherds. This was Sumerian history etched in stone, well, clay, technically. And their mission? Gold. Not to flex their wealth, but to pull off a cosmic rescue mission for Nibiru. Stick with me, Because this Anunnaki gold hunt is the key to unlocking one of humanity's wildest origin stories. So, who were these Anunnaki aliens? Really? Let's paint the picture. They weren't your average visitors. Standing between 12 and 15 feet tall, twice the height of an NBA star, they'd tower over us like walking skyscrapers. Those elongated skulls? Not just freaky fashion. They hint at a biology totally alien to ours. Maybe tied to Nibiru's low gravity. And their tech? We're talking advanced beyond anything Sumerians, or even we, could whip up. Think particle beams, genetic engineering, starships zipping across the solar system. The Sumerian texts don't spell it out like a sci-fi novel. But the vibes are there. Beings with power and know-how that scream, not from around here. They landed in Mesopotamia, set up shop, and got to work. But why Earth? Why not some other rock floating in space? It's all about location. Location, and Earth's got gold and spades. The Anunnaki knew it, and they weren't here to sightsee. Their homeworld, Nibiru, was in deep trouble. Volcanoes spewing toxic junk. Atmosphere thinning out. Twin moons barely visible through the haze. Gold wasn't just pretty to them, it was survival. Scientists today say gold nanoparticles can filter radiation. Wild, right? Maybe the Anunnaki were onto something 450,000 years ago that we're only catching up to now. Let's zoom in on Nibiru for a sec. This isn't some random sci-fi planet. It's a big deal in ancient alien lore. Some call it Planet 9, others the 12th planet, thanks to Zecharia Sitchin's books. Sumerian myths say it swings through our solar system every 3.600 years. And when it gets close, chaos follows. Back then, Nibiru was dying, its air choking on ash. Its people desperate. The Anunnaki, led by their king Anu, hatched a plan. Mine Earth's gold, grind it into dust, and pump it into their atmosphere to block out the killer rays. That's why they crossed the stars to our little blue ball. Gold wasn't jewelry to them, it was a lifeline. And here's the kicker. They didn't want to get their hands dirty digging it up themselves. No, they had bigger plans that might just involve us humans. How does that tie into the Sumerian civilization? Were we part of their cosmic scheme? Oh, it's about to get even stranger. Now, let's talk about that gold obsession. Gold's everywhere on Earth, rivers, mountains, deep underground. To us, 7.000 years ago, it was just shiny stuff to stare at. But to the Anunnaki, pure magic. Their ancient alien tech could turn it into something life-saving. Sumerian texts don't say nanoparticles, they didn't have the word, but they hint at gold's power in cryptic ways. Why else would beings from Nibiru fixate on it? They weren't here to trade trinkets. They were here to stockpile enough to haul back home. And 450.000 years ago, Earth was their gold mine jackpot, literally. Those towering Anunnaki giants, with their elongated skulls and freaky tech, set up camp in Mesopotamia. Right where the Sumerian civilization would later bloom. Coincidence? I don't think so. This gold rush wasn't random. It's the thread tying ancient aliens to our past. Here's where it gets bonkers. The Anunnaki didn't just grab gold and bounce, they stuck around. Why? Because mining's hard work, and they weren't about to sweat it out. Sumerian legends hint they had a workforce in mind. First their enslaved Iga. Then, us. Yep, humanity might have been born from this Nibiru gold fever. Those ancient texts, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, drop clues that the Anunnaki messed with our DNA. Turning ape-like hominids into something smarter. Something built to serve. Crazy, right? Were we engineered by ancient aliens to dig gold for Nibiru? Did the Sumerian civilization rise from that cosmic experiment? The more you dig into these stories, the wilder it gets. So, let's break it all down, piece by freaky piece, and see if this Anunnaki-Nibiru tale holds up. Ready to have your mind blown? Let's go. Hey, mystery lovers. Let's crank up the cosmic dial and zoom into a jaw-dropping scene. Imagine Nibiru, this colossal, rogue planet tearing through space on a wild 3.600-year orbit. It's not just any rock, this is the Anunnaki's homeworld. And it's in serious trouble. Picture a dying planet choking under a thick, toxic haze, volcanoes erupting like cosmic tantrums, spewing ash and poison into the air, shredding its atmosphere to bits. The twin moons? barely visible through the gloom. The stars? Gone, swallowed by a sickly yellow fog. It's a slow-motion disaster. And the Anunnaki, those towering alien giants we've been obsessing over, are staring extinction in the face. But here's where it gets wild. Led by their fearless king, Anu, these ancient aliens stumble onto a game-changer. Gold. Yeah, that shiny stuff we humans drool over. It's not just pretty to them, it's a lifeline. Turns out, gold nanoparticles can work some serious magic, filtering out deadly radiation and patching up Nibiru's broken sky. Scientists today back this up. Gold can shield against cosmic rays. So, the Anunnaki hatch a desperate plan to save their world. One tiny hitch. Nibiru's gold supply? Basically zilch. It's like finding a cure but running out of medicine. Total bummer. Right? Let's rewind and soak this in. Nibiru's dying, volcanic chaos, polluted skies, the works. Gold's their ticket out, but they're fresh out on their home turf. Flash forward 450,000 years ago, and their probes light up with Earth's coordinates, gold central. The Anunnaki don't mess around. They've got a planet to save. But instead of breaking a sweat, they dream up something bigger, way bigger. Why shovel dirt when you can engineer a workforce? That's where the Sumerian connection kicks in later. Those ancient texts hint we might have been cooked up in an Anunnaki lab to sling picks and haul gold. Crazy, right? Were we just pawns in their Nibiru rescue mission? Did ancient aliens really cross the stars for gold, and drag us into the mix? It's a head spinner, and we're just getting started unraveling this cosmic puzzle. Okay, pause for a sec. Can you wrap your head around aliens needing gold to survive? It's bonkers. Drop a comment below, type "gold for aliens," and tell me what you think. Could the Anunnaki really pull this off? Let's chat about it. I'm dying to hear your take on this Nibiru gold rush. Hey there, cosmic truth seekers. Let's dive into the next mind-bending chapter of the Anunnaki saga. It's about to get wild. Picture this, the Anunnaki, those towering ancient aliens from Nibiru, have landed in Mesopotamia, Earth's gold hotspot, and they're ready to cash in. But here's the twist, they didn't roll solo. Nope, they brought along a slave race called the Iga, a beefy bunch of extraterrestrial workers built to haul gold from Earth's depths. Imagine these 12 to 15-foot giants. Think Anunnaki cousins with a bit less swagger, slaving away in Mesopotamia's dusty mines, clawing out shiny nuggets to save Nibiru's crumbling atmosphere. For 150,000 years, the Iga were the Anunnaki's go-to crew, digging day and night under the watchful eyes of their alien overlords. Gold was flowing, Nibiru's hope was flickering back to life, and everything seemed peachy, until it wasn't. After all that time, the Iga had enough. They snapped, threw down their tools, and staged a full-on rebellion. Picture a cosmic uprising, shackles breaking, minds collapsing, chaos everywhere. The Anunnaki were ticked off, big time. Their perfect plan was crumbling faster than a sandcastle in a storm. So, what's a race of ancient aliens to do when their workforce bails? They pivot, and oh boy, do they pivot hard. Let's zoom in on this rebellion for a sec. It's a game changer. The Iga weren't just tired, they were done being the Anunnaki's grunt workers. Sumerian texts hint at this epic clash, buried in cryptic tales of defiance and toil. For 150,000 years, these enslaved extraterrestrials, loyal servants of the Anunnaki, mined Earth's gold to fuel Nibiru's survival. That's a crazy long shift, right? Gold dust was their ticket to fixing Nibiru's toxic skies. And Mesopotamia was the perfect spot, rivers glittering with the stuff, mountains hiding veins of it. The Anunnaki had it all figured out. Let the Iga sweat it out while they kicked back and ran the show. But 150,000 years of backbreaking labor? Even alien slaves have limits. The Iga flipped the script, turned their picks into weapons, and said, "We're out." The Anunnaki weren't ready for that curveball. Mines shut down, gold shipments stalled, and Nibiru's fate hung by a thread. Fed up and desperate, the Anunnaki needed a new plan, fast. And that's when their gaze landed on something, or someone, right here on Earth. Us. Or at least, what we'd become. Enter Earth's primitive hominids, think Homo erectus. Those rugged, ape-like ancestors roaming the wilds. These weren't your polished modern humans, they were rough around the edges. Grunting and scavenging, maybe swinging a crude stone tool or two. Not exactly gold mining material. Right? But the Anunnaki saw potential in these scrappy little creatures. Why? Because they had a trick up their cosmic sleeves: DNA splicing. Yep, the Anunnaki, masters of ancient alien tech, decided to play genetic mad scientist. They grabbed these hominids, cracked open their extraterrestrial toolkit, and mixed in some of their own Anunnaki DNA. Picture a lab straight out of sci-fi: glowing vials, humming machines, and a 15-foot Anunnaki in a lab coat. Okay, maybe not the coat. They blended their superior alien genes with Homo erectus's raw material, cooking up a brand new species, Homo sapiens, us. The first human to pop out of this wild experiment? A guy named Adamu. Ring any bells? Yep, sounds a lot like Adam from the Bible. And that's no coincidence. Sumerian texts beat Genesis to the punch by thousands of years. Adamu wasn't just a random dude. He was the Anunnaki's custom-built worker, smart enough to swing a pickaxe, but tame enough to follow orders without a fuss. Genius, right? At least, that was the plan. Let's break this down, because it's bonkers. Sumerian legends, etched in clay long before pyramids or Stonehenge. Spill the tea on this Anunnaki creation story. They say the Anunnaki engineered us, Homo sapiens, to take over where the Iga left off. After the rebellion trashed their gold mining gig, the Anunnaki weren't about to let Nibiru die. They needed Earth's gold, badly, and Mesopotamia was still their treasure chest. So, they tweaked those primitive hominids into something better: us. Adamu and his kind were designed with just the right mix: Anunnaki smarts meets human muscle. All wrapped in a submissive little package. Sumerian texts call it creating man in their image. Mixing divine blood with Earth's clay, fancy talk for DNA and dirt. Folks, the goal? A workforce that could dig gold, build cities, and keep quiet about it. And for a while, it worked like a charm. The Anunnaki had their shiny new humans hauling gold. Nibiru's lifeline was back on track, and Mesopotamia hummed with alien-ordered labor. But, plot twist, it didn't last. Humans got a little too clever, a little too restless, and that's where this Anunnaki experiment starts to unravel. So, why Adamu? Why us? Let's dig deeper. The Anunnaki didn't just want drones, they wanted efficiency. Homo erectus was a start, but too primal, too slow. With their advanced tech, the Anunnaki turbocharged evolution, leapfrogging us into Homo sapiens practically overnight. Sumerian myths say Adamu was the first, a prototype for a gold mining army. His name means first man, or from the earth, echoes of ancient alien tampering. Right? They gave us brains to work the mines, hands to stack ziggurats, but kept us docile, or so they thought. Mesopotamia became ground zero for this cosmic makeover, tying the Sumerian civilization to the Anunnaki's gold lust. For a hot minute, it was perfect. Gold flowed. Nibiru breathed easier, and the Anunnaki ruled the roost. But humans? We're tricky. That spark of Anunnaki DNA lit a fire they couldn't control: curiosity. Rebellion. The works. The plan held, until it didn't. And that's where this Anunnaki Homo sapiens tale takes a turn you won't see coming. Hey, you cosmic detectives, buckle up. Because we're about to fast forward into one of the wildest twists in the Anunnaki saga. So, picture this. Humanity's been chugging along, mining gold for our towering alien overlords, the Anunnaki. But here's the kicker. We're not the obedient little workers they dreamed up anymore. Nope, humans are getting way too smart, way too feisty, and downright violent. Those Anunnaki DNA tweaks? They lit a spark we couldn't control. Think rebellion, chaos, and a whole lot of attitude. The Anunnaki, meanwhile, are sitting pretty with their shiny gold stash, enough to patch up Nibiru's dying skies. But just when they're ready to call it a win, the universe throws a curveball. Nibiru's orbit is swinging in, and it's coming real close to Earth. We're talking a cosmic near-miss that's about to flip our world upside down, literally. Around 13.000 years ago, Nibiru's massive gravity rolls in like a wrecking ball, unleashing a cataclysm straight out of a disaster flick: earthquakes rattling the ground, tsunamis swallowing coastlines, and a flood so epic it drowns everything in sight. Sound familiar? Every culture's got this tale etched in their lore. Noah's Ark, Unapishtim's boat, you name it. The Anunnaki? They're ready to kick back and watch us sink, except for one rogue player. Enki, who pulls a wild card and saves a human family on a giant ark. Why'd he do it? Was it love, or a sneaky plan to rebuild? Let's dive into this Anunnaki flood mystery and figure it out. Alright, let's rewind a bit and soak in the chaos. Humans, as pesky Homo sapiens, were supposed to be the Anunnaki's perfect gold-digging drones. Sumerian texts say they engineered us to be clever enough to work, but tame enough to stay in line. Spoiler: that plan backfired, big time. Fast forward a few thousand years, and we're not just mining gold anymore, we're fighting, scheming, and outsmarting the system. The Anunnaki probably didn't expect their DNA cocktail to brew up such a rowdy bunch. By this point, they've got what they came for, piles of Earth's gold, ready to ship back to Nibiru and save its crumbling atmosphere from volcanic doom. But just as they're dusting off their hands, Nibiru's 3.600-year orbit swings it dangerously close to Earth, closer than ever before. We're talking 13.000 years ago, right around the end of the Younger Dryas, when the planet's gravity goes haywire. Picture this: Nibiru, this hulking red beast, looms in the sky, tugging at Earth like a cosmic puppeteer. The result? A cataclysm that rewrites history, earthquakes cracking continents, tsunamis taller than mountains, and a great flood that wipes the slate clean. Every ancient culture remembers it. Sumerians with Unapishtim, Hebrews with Noah, even Polynesians with their own flood legends. It's the same story, different names, and it's all tied to the Anunnaki and Nibiru's deadly flyby. Let's zoom in on this flood. It's unreal. Around 13.000 years ago, Nibiru's gravitational pull turns Earth into a disaster zone. Scientists today say the Younger Dryas saw ice caps melt fast, sea levels spike, and chaos reign. Could Nibiru be the trigger? The Anunnaki sure thought so. Sumerian myths paint a vivid picture. The ground shakes like it's angry. Oceans roar over villages, and the sky darkens as water swallows the world. This wasn't just a rainy day, it was a global reset. A great flood that drowned everything humanity had built. Every culture's got a version: Noah building his ark, Unapishtim floating with his family, even Native American tales of survivors clinging to mountaintops. The Anunnaki, perched in their orbiting ships, watch it all go down. They've got their gold. Nibiru's salvation is in the bag. Why stick around for the mess? Their plan? Let humans sink into the abyss. After all, we'd outlived our purpose, too smart, too violent, too much trouble. But here's where it gets juicy. Not all the Anunnaki were cool with wiping us out. Enter Enki, the rebel with a cause. While the others are ready to ditch Earth, Enki steps up and says, "Not so fast." Who's this Enki guy? Let's dig in. In Sumerian lore, he's an Anunnaki big shot, smart, crafty, and maybe a little soft-hearted. He's the one who helped tweak our DNA way back when, turning hominids into Homo sapiens. Now, 13.000 years ago, as Nibiru's orbit triggers this cataclysmic flood, Enki can't just watch us drown. Picture him sneaking behind the other Anunnaki's backs, picking out a human family, good, honest folks, and handing them the blueprints for a giant ark. Sound familiar? It's Unapishtim in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Noah in the Bible, a massive boat stuffed with survivors and seeds of life. While tsunamis crash and earthquakes rumble, Enki's ark rides the waves, a lifeline in the Great Flood. But why save us? That's the million-dollar question. Some say Enki had a soft spot for his human creations. Maybe he saw a bit of himself in our stubborn, clever souls. Others argue it was pure strategy. He needed survivors to rebuild, to keep Earth's gold mines humming once the waters receded. Either way, Enki's move changes everything, and it's a twist that's got ancient alien fans buzzing. So, what's the deal with this Nibiru flyby? Every 3.600 years, this rogue planet swings through, and when it gets too close, like 13.000 years ago, Earth pays the price. The Anunnaki knew it was coming. They'd tracked Nibiru's orbit for eons. That's why they were ready to bail with their gold haul, leaving us to fend for ourselves in the flood. Sumerian texts call it a cleansing, but it's hard to see it that way when you're underwater. The cataclysm hits hard, earthquakes split the land, tsunamis bury cities, and the Great Flood wipes out humanity's early chapters. Every culture's flood story points back to this moment: Noah, Utnapishtim, countless others, all echoing the same Nibiru-driven disaster. The Anunnaki's cold plan was to let us go extinct. But Enki's rogue rescue throws a wrench in it. Was he a hero or just playing a long game? Did he love us, or did he need us? That's the Anunnaki mystery we're unraveling, and it's about to get even crazier. Hey there, you curious explorers of the unknown. We've been unraveling the Anunnaki saga. And now it's time to tackle the big question. Is any of this wild tale actually true? Let's dive into the cosmic deep end and find out. The guy who kicked this whole ancient alien party into gear is Zecharia Sitchin, a name you've probably heard if you're hooked on Nibiru conspiracies. Sitchin spent decades poring over Sumerian texts, those dusty clay tablets from Mesopotamia, and came out swinging with a bold claim. The Anunnaki weren't myths, they were real extraterrestrials. He says these ancient writings are hard proof that beings from Nibiru landed on Earth, engineered humanity, and mined our gold. Pretty epic, right? But hold up. Not everyone's buying what Sitchin's selling. Critics are throwing shade, calling him a lousy translator with a wild imagination. They argue, Anunnaki doesn't mean aliens from the heavens. It's just royal blood, or noble seed, in Sumerian, tied to their king Anu and his lineage. So, is this all a big mistranslation? Or is there more to the story? Stick around, because the evidence gets freaky. Think elongated skulls in Peru with DNA that screams Middle East. A mysterious Planet 9 shaking up the Kuiper Belt. And a brain-boosting genetic tweak 50,000 years ago that left Neanderthals in the dust. Coincidence? You're the judge. Let's break it all down and see where the truth hides. First up, let's talk Zecharia Sitchin, the rock star of ancient alien theories. Back in 1976, he dropped The 12th Planet, a book that flipped history on its head. Sitchin wasn't some dusty professor. He was a self-taught Sumerian sleuth who claimed he cracked the code of Mesopotamia's oldest writings. Sumerian texts, etched in cuneiform on clay tablets, are like time capsules from 7,000 years ago. And Sitchin says they're packed with Anunnaki secrets. To him, these aren't fairy tales. They're eyewitness accounts of extraterrestrials from Nibiru, a rogue planet swinging through our solar system every 3,600 years. He points to lines about beings from the heavens, gold mining, and human creation, arguing it's proof the Anunnaki were ancient aliens who shaped our past. His fans, especially ancient alien buffs, eat it up, calling him a visionary who connected the dots. Sumerian civilization, the cradle of writing and cities, becomes ground zero for this cosmic cover-up in Sitchin's world. But here's the rub. Not everyone's on board. Scholars and skeptics roll their eyes, saying Sitchin's translations are more fantasy than fact. They insist Anunnaki just means royal blood, not space travelers. So, was Sitchin a genius or a dreamer spinning Sumerian myths into alien gold? Let's weigh the clues. Now, the critics, they're not messing around. They say Sitchin butchered Sumerian lingo like a rookie chef with a dull knife. In the real ancient texts, Anunnaki ties to Anu, the Sumerian sky god, and his consort Ki, royal blood, or noble offspring. Not extraterrestrials. No flying saucers. No Nibiru gold rush. Just a fancy title for divine royalty in Mesopotamia's pantheon. Scholars point out Sitchin didn't have formal training in Sumerian. He taught himself cuneiform while working a day job in shipping. That's gutsy, but it's got the experts scoffing. They argue his 12th planet idea, Nibiru as a hidden world, is based on a shaky reading of a Sumerian seal showing the sun with 12 dots. Not planets. Sumerians knew some astronomy, sure, but they couldn't see past Saturn without telescopes. So, no Planet 9 or Nibiru in their star charts, just poetic metaphors. Say the debunkers. Sitchin's ancient alien theory? Pseudoscience. They claim. A fun story that twists Sumerian myths into something it's not. But before you write him off, let's peek at some weird evidence that's got even the skeptics scratching their heads. Here's where it gets juicy. Let's talk proof. First up, those freaky elongated skulls from Paracas, Peru.